Let's talk about some free apps for your Fire TV device. Could be a Fire Stick, Fire Cube, whatever the case may be. I've got my top 10 free apps for that Fire device. There are more than that, and I'll show you how to find some other ones, but yeah, I've narrowed it down to my top 10. So let's dive in. Hey everybody, Craig here for Reviews.org. I hope this video is enjoyable or helpful in some way for you, and if it is, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. All right, let's get into it. I'm gonna do a quick tour of the Fire TV interface just for anybody who is new to their Fire TV device. Maybe you're a recent cord cutter, maybe you're switching from a different device. I'll just show you a couple of things about how to navigate around this. So if you're already a Fire TV user, go ahead and skip ahead to the next section in the timeline below. Right here, this is our home screen. If you go through the home screen, it's gonna give you a lot of recommendations, stuff that Amazon wants you to watch or things you might enjoy watching. We're gonna skip past this home screen and go to our apps screen. So if I scroll over here, you're gonna see there are a bunch of apps that I most commonly use that are right here on the home screen. I'll show you how I put those there. But right over here, we're gonna go to this apps tab. Okay, so when I click on that, it goes to your apps and channels. All right, so you can see that those apps that were on the home screen are right up here, up top. Anything below that, you have to come to a different screen to find. But those 6 apps, if you put them up above there, then they show up on your home screen. So if I wanted Freevee to show up there, I simply long hold on the center button here on my remote and put it up there with the others, and there you go. If you want to find some other apps, then you can go to that same spot, but instead of pressing on the button, the select button, I'm going to come down here to, it says your apps and channels, some offers, and then right down here you've got my apps, which will take you to the same page, or get more apps. And you can see a whole bunch of options here. Yes, they have their featured stuff. This is the stuff that they're going to point you toward, or again, stuff that they think you might like. Or you can come here to all categories if there's something specific that you're looking for. And of course, if you know the actual app that you're after, then you can actually search that either by voice or by typing it in. All right, with that in mind, let's go back to the My Apps screen. All 10 of my apps are going to be right here below that top line. And like I said, I'll mention a few others, but let's go through the top 10 free apps as far as I'm concerned, the ones that you really ought to have if you've got a Fire TV device. The first one we start with is Freevee. Freevee used to be known as IMDb TV, okay, which was quite a mouthful. Amazon bought IMDb a while ago and they created IMDb TV as a place to store free titles that they didn't want to put in the Prime Video app. The Prime Video app, of course, you have to pay for, and you probably are if you're using a Fire TV device, but we'll leave that aside for now. With Freevee, if you pop into there, then you're gonna see a bunch of titles that you can watch for free. The difference is that these are going to be commercial supported. But with Freevee, just like most all of these free apps, if you're not paying for it, then that means that you are gonna have to watch commercials. That being said, there are some great titles in here that you're not gonna find on Prime Video, some that you won't find anywhere else. And when you pop into those titles, you'll see on that timeline, there are those little dots on there. Those represent commercial breaks. So all these titles are gonna have those commercial breaks. Some will have more, some will have fewer. It's just up to you how much you're willing to sit through commercial-wise. But Freevee goes at the top of the list for Fire TV users because, well, frankly, it's kind of built into your Fire TV anyway. This is an Amazon product. And because it's an Amazon product, yeah, they do a pretty good job of pulling together titles that you are actually going to want to watch. So it's definitely a good one to browse through every once in a while. All right, coming down to pick number 2. This is kind of weird, right? The Roku Channel. The Roku Channel is my number 2 pick, and it's not on a Roku. But yeah, you can get it on your Fire TV device. And the Roku Channel is honestly really excellent. It's one that I've been touting for years, and they've only gotten better as time has gone on. The Roku Channel does a great job of pulling together all sorts of free stuff, whether it's live TV channels, not the same cable channels you're used to, but yes, you can get some live TV stuff, you can get some on-demand stuff. They even have Roku Originals now. If you recall, a couple of years ago, there was a streaming service called Quibi. Quibi didn't last very long. It was not very well thought out, but some of the content was pretty good, and Roku bought that content when Quibi folded, and thus was born the Roku Original. And since then, they've made their own originals as well. In fact, recently they made the Weird Al biopic, which is just as weird and just as hilarious as you would think. Next up on our list is Peacock. Peacock is a weird one, and I'm going to tell you why. Because Peacock is technically a premium app, right? This is NBC Universal's app. But the thing is, there are two sides to Peacock. You can do the free version or the premium version. In fact, there are two premium versions. But it is really nice that they've got a whole bunch of free stuff on here. So because it's NBC Universal, they've got a great library of titles that you can go through. The only tricky thing about this one is that, like I said before, if you're watching something for free, yes, you'll have to watch commercials. But the other thing is that if you're on the free version of Peacock, just be aware that they're not going to hide the titles that are on the premium version. Basically, the idea is they want you to see how awesome their library is, and then when you click on something, it says, oh, this is for premium members, and try to get you to subscribe that way. So there are some frustrations with it that way. However, as far as NBC stuff goes, it's kind of a must-have. It's really great, especially if you're into wrestling. This is the must-see destination for wrestling content. There's some other sports stuff on here, of course, as well. But the WWE is owned by NBC Universal, as far as I know, and so they've got a whole bunch of wrestling content on here. Next up is Spotify. Now, I'm using Spotify as kind of a placeholder for all sorts of music apps. There are other music apps that you can put on here. This is the one I use, but whatever music app you use, there's a good chance that it is available on your streaming device as well. But yeah, Spotify, this one's kind of an easy to explain choice. This is a no-brainer. If you enjoy music, then Spotify is going to be a big deal for you. Now you might think, well, why do I need it here? I've got it on my phone. I don't need it on my TV. Well, the nice thing is your TV, depending on your sound setup, may have a better sound system than, well, that little phone that you carry in your pocket. And it's also nice if you're, say hosting a party or something, then putting music on the TV makes a lot of sense in a situation like that. Frankly, I've had enough situations in the last 6 or 7 years where I've really been glad that I had Spotify on my TV that I couldn't not recommend it. But let's move on to a couple of classic free apps, Tubi and Pluto. I'm kind of lumping these together because they're almost mirror images of each other. Tubi is the first free app that I remember ever seeing. It started out as kind of a Netflix imitator. It was like Netflix with commercials, which I guess is going to be a thing now here pretty soon. Anyway, it has since evolved, but this is one of the originals and still one of the best. Tubi does a great job of pulling together titles, again, that you'll actually want to see, kind of like Freevee. And when I say that it has evolved a little bit, what I mean by that is it started out as Netflix with commercials, but now you can come up here, let's say over here to live TV, and see that, yeah, it's got a giant live TV section. Now, again, much like on the Roku Channel, these are not the live TV channels you're used to if you're on cable, but they're kind of offshoots of a lot of those channels much of the time. So whether you're looking for news or sports or entertainment, whatever the case may be, if you prefer to have a live TV approach with the kind of time grid on here, watching things on their schedule, then it's a great way to do it. But Tubi was definitely built on the on-demand side, and the live TV side was added later. But now if we go to our next pick, which is Pluto TV, it was built in the opposite way. Pluto TV was kind of the original live TV cable simulator, right? So this is free live TV. It's all obviously commercial supported, right? And if you do pop in here, yeah, you'll see there are a ton of live TV channels on here. The really nice thing about Pluto is that they have their live channels sorted into categories, right? And so if you're looking for Christmas stuff, if you're looking for entertainment options, news, whatever the case may be, it's really easy to find them just with that directory kind of on the left. Now, if I come up here to the top, you'll see I'm on live TV right now, but with Pluto TV, I can also go to on demand. And like you can see, they have a lot of content that is pretty cool. You know, this is not the bottom of the barrel stuff that you find on some free apps. And once again, I can come over here to the left and sort by the category that I want to be looking for. So between Freevee and Tubi and Pluto, you're definitely going to find something you want to watch. It is not actually necessary to pay for any content between some of these, but we do have a few more apps to go through. Okay, what about kid content? There are a few things that I could point out. You'll see down here I've got PBS Kids. My kids actually use that quite a bit. I like PBS Kids a lot, but I want to point out the Lego channel. This has been a revelation in our house, and maybe for you as well if you have kids. The Lego channel is exactly that. It is a Lego channel devoted entirely to Lego stuff. And you come in here, you can see they've been making Lego content for a while. They've got quite a library built up. And you can go into a specific type of library, or you can come over here to skip this screen and just see everything that's on offer there. So there are kind of the animated Lego shows. There's also, you know, people building Legos and people talking about Legos Lego. Is that the plural of Lego is Lego? Who cares? Point being, if you are a parent, you've got kids, and you want kind of a fun and safe channel for them to browse through, I love the Lego channel. Switching gears a little bit, let's go to Plex. Okay, Plex is one of the most interesting free apps out there because, again, kind of like Tubi and like Pluto TV, it started as one thing and has built on that and morphed into something greater than it once was. The basic idea behind Plex is that this gives you a place to upload your own content and watch it and stream it wherever you happen to be. So what I mean is, let's say you've got a library of DVDs or family videos or bootleg music copies that you've had since the 90s or whatever. You can create a Plex account online, upload that content, and then it appears in your Plex app on your Fire TV. So you can see if I come down here to movies, I've added a few things of my own, like my cherished DVD of The Last Starfighter or the interview that I did with the author Jim Butcher for a different channel. Anyway, so I can upload my own videos here. I can do the same thing with my music. I can do the same thing with my photos. And that's the bread and butter of Plex. That is what sets it apart and what makes it really cool. Now, that being said, they also since have added live TV and on-demand movies and shows. You can even get music from Tidal on here. And while they do have a few really good titles on here, I will say that for the most part, the selection is not quite what you would expect to get on some of those higher end versions, the Tubis, the Plutos, the Freevees. Still, that's not what sets it apart, so I'm not gonna take any points off for not having quite as good a library. All right, just a couple more. Let's talk about the native apps that Amazon puts on their Fire TV devices, News and Free. Let's start with News. News is one that I've been loving for a few years now. I really enjoy what they do here. Essentially what they do is they collate all of the free news content out there, because there is quite a bit of it, and they put it all in one location. So you can come up here to local news and get your local stuff. So, you know, I'm here in the Salt Lake area, so I get Utah news. Or I come up here to trending and they're gonna pull together all sorts of stuff from lots of different sources, and you can watch, you know, little clips that they have on here. You can also go here to channels. All right, so if there is a certain channel that you enjoy the very most, or maybe a group of them, then you can make them your favorites, and then they show up kind of on that front page. But just looking through here, you can see just how many apps they have available. It's a huge selection. And then you get down here to local news channels. Again, there's a ton of them. So not just here in the Salt Lake area, but in surrounding areas as well, Boise, Denver, Las Vegas, and it'll look similar to you depending on what area you're in. And then we get to Free. I saved this one for last just because it is kind of the newest thing that Amazon is making native on their Fire TV devices. I come in here to Free. What is that? Well, it's a whole bunch of free stuff, including some of the content that we've already talked about, stuff from Freevee and Tubi and all of that stuff. You know, things that, like, Tubi recommends these titles. Okay, so Tubi is gonna put stuff on there. Obviously Freevee, because it's Amazon owned, is gonna be featured prominently here. Anyway, so point being, there's a lot of free content for you to watch right here. And this is also the only place I've seen where you can sort apps to download by whether they're free or not. And they're not gonna have everything on here, but you'll see this category, free apps on Fire TV, a lot of the ones that we've already talked about, plus a few others as well. And there you go, 10 apps that I think you need to have on your Fire TV if you've got one. 10 free apps that should have you set up for the next year at least. If you don't want to pay for any content, you're going to have plenty to go on right here. And I haven't even talked about a few of the others. I skipped YouTube. YouTube's pretty important, says the guy you're watching on YouTube right now. Crackle is excellent. FilmRise is one that I've talked about in previous videos. We're skipping past that today. Point being, there are others out there as well. But I hope you liked my picks for the top 10. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you feel like I missed any, you want to make the case for others leaping into the top 10, then go ahead and do that in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.